Deep beneath the scorching sands of the Arabian desert lies a mystery that baffled explorers, historians, and kings for over 1,000 years. A city so grand and legendary that ancient texts called it the Atlantis of the sands. For centuries, Ubar was whispered about in stories and scriptures, said to be a place of immense wealth, towering architecture, and divine downfall. Many believed it was a myth, a fable told by desert travelers to pass the lonely nights. But in the 1990s, something extraordinary happened. Using satellites orbiting hundreds of miles above the Earth, scientists made a discovery that would change everything we knew about this lost city. Welcome to Obscurial, and this is the story of Ubar, the lost city rediscovered from space. The legend of Ubar stretches deep into the roots of human civilization. In the Quran, it is called Iram of the Pillars, described as a magnificent city whose people defied divine law and were punished for their arrogance. Ancient poets spoke of its towering fortresses and its wealth built on a single commodity: frankincense, the fragrant resin burned in temples and palaces across the ancient world. Frankincense was worth more than gold. It was believed to connect mortals to the divine. Caravans from India, Africa, and the Mediterranean journeyed across deadly deserts to trade for it, and Ubar stood at the heart of this golden route, a glittering fortress city that controlled the trade of the god's own perfume. But sometime around the 3rd century, Ubar vanished. No warnings, no survivors. It simply disappeared beneath the endless dunes. Legends whispered that God had struck it down, burying it beneath the sands for its people's greed and sin. Others claimed the desert itself swallowed it whole. Whatever the truth, Ubar became an enigma, a ghost city that haunted Arab lore for over 16 centuries. Explorers chased rumors, kings funded expeditions, and scholars mapped the desert, yet no one ever found it. Until one man decided he would not stop searching. That man was Nicholas Clapp, a documentary filmmaker, adventurer, and self-proclaimed amateur archaeologist. In the 1980s, Clapp became obsessed with finding the lost city. He pored over ancient texts, interviewed Bedouin tribes who still spoke of the fabled city, and traced the ancient trade routes of Oman, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia. But the Arabian desert is vast, a sea of sand stretching over 250,000 square miles. To find one ancient ruin within it seemed impossible. Searching by foot would take lifetimes. So Clapp came up with a radical idea. What if we searched from space? At the height of the space age, Clapp approached NASA with an audacious proposal. He requested access to their synthetic aperture radar, a powerful imaging technology originally designed for Cold War reconnaissance. Unlike ordinary cameras, this radar could penetrate layers of sand and reveal structures buried beneath the surface. It could detect patterns invisible to the naked eye, ancient roads, walls, and ruins that had been lost to time. NASA agreed. Working with Jet Propulsion Laboratory scientists, they scanned the vast emptiness of the Arabian Peninsula. And then, in 1992, they saw it, faint but unmistakable. Across hundreds of miles of barren desert, ghostly lines began to appear on the radar maps. Ancient caravan routes etched into the earth itself, converging toward a single point deep in the Rub al-Khali, the empty quarter, one of the most inhospitable regions on Earth. That convergence matched the precise region ancient travelers had described as Ubar. The evidence was undeniable. Something was buried there. Excitement erupted across the scientific world. Clapp assembled an expedition team, archaeologists, geologists, and local Bedouin guides, and journeyed into the desert. After days of blistering heat, whipping sand, and mechanical breakdowns, they reached the site. Beneath their boots lay a promise written in legend. They began to dig. What they uncovered stunned the world. Beneath the sand, the team discovered massive stone walls, some more than 10 feet thick, rising from the earth like the bones of a long-dead giant. The remains of defensive towers, pottery fragments, and ancient artifacts suggested the site was once a thriving fortress. It was proof that a real city had once stood here. Not just a myth, not just a story. But as they dug deeper, they noticed something strange. The walls were broken, collapsed inward as if the ground itself had swallowed the city. The truth, as it turned out, was more geological than mythical. Ubar had been built atop a vast underground limestone cavern, a natural reservoir that had sustained the settlement for centuries. But over time, as the city grew and the groundwater was drained, the cavern weakened. Eventually, under the immense weight of the fortress above, the ground caved in. The city literally sank into the earth. What legend had called divine punishment was, in fact, the slow collapse of the very land Ubar depended upon. When the dust settled, the story of Ubar took its place among the greatest archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. It was a triumph not just of exploration, but of innovation. the first time a lost city had been found using satellite technology. This new frontier of space archaeology would go on to uncover dozens of other lost civilizations buried under deserts, jungles, and even ice. If you love mysteries like this, subscribe to Obscurial, where we explore the unknown, uncover the impossible, and bring forgotten history back to life. Until next time, keep searching.